So we'll get back to the video now. But actually, I should show you one more thing. I should just trace the rest of the route while I'm at it. When I was working on the Adirondack, we also ran excursions up to Carter, which was where the old Racket Lake Railway turned off. And this railway grade is now a road. It's Carter Road. See that? And you can actually drive this, although be aware that it's narrow and dirt. Just be aware of that. It's not going to stop you in good weather anyway, but it's something to note. And a lot of the stations along the line have been preserved. Which I think is kind of cool. Depending on what route you take, this is saying Route 93, but no, it's not. It's Route 28. So the way you would get to Carter Road is you'd take Route 28 north from Thendara and Old Forge until the turnoff there. Looking for a good landmark here. Let's look at Street View, see if we get some idea what to look for. Because I remember, well, you have the gravel pit there. You could use that as your landmark. You turn left instead of right. Yeah, and actually, this road is not Carter Road initially. It's initially called Rondack's Road. That's an important detail. So you would turn off at Rondack's Road, which becomes Carter Road further down. And of course, if you followed the grade further east, you would eventually get yourself to Racket Lake, but that is not recommended. If you want to go visit Racket Lake, there's Eagle Bay. You take Route 28, because Route 28 is pretty close to the original grade, actually. Eagle Bay Station is actually on Route 28, as I recall. You could find it here. I don't see it. I've forgotten the exact location, but it is there. You do get to see it. And if you take... Well, wait a minute. Hold on. I'm finding the way here for all of you. All these 6th, 7th, 8th lakes and so on, this is all the Fulton chain of lakes. When people talk about the Fulton chain, that's what they're referring to. So if you continue to take Route 28 out, it will take you to Racket Lake eventually. And if you look in here, there's the old railway grade coming in. I'm looking for the station, actually. That's what I wanted to show all of you. It's hard to see from the air, though. In truth, it's really just the foundation at this point, and has been for decades, but it was still there last I looked. If I'm remembering right, the station was in here, because there's this loop of road here, and that was actually a loop of railroad originally. I can't see exactly where it is now from the air. That's the drawback to all this. But then you can see they have a whole bunch of ferry services going to different places on Racket Lake there. And just excursions and some... I don't know all the details of what they offer right now, but you can see it's a fairly large lake. See... And Blue Mountain Lake is out here. This is where the ferry boats and the Marion River Ferry Railroad would have taken you originally. But Route 28 runs straight through, so if you want to go to Blue Mountain Lake, you can just drive. This is where the Adirondack Museum is, which has some artifact from the Adirondack Railway, actually. In addition to the Marion River Kerry Railroad and the New York and Ottawa that went Tupper Lake to Ottawa. In general, this whole area is a beautiful part of the world, and I've always enjoyed traveling here. But we're sort of missing the point here. I'm zooming out too much here. I'm getting you all confused, I'm sure. Go back to the Adirondack division here. And see, if you continue past Carter, you end up in Big Moose up here. There are occasional excursions here. This railway line is serviceable, meaning as far north as Big Moose. But it's a matter of marketing, of course. They don't regularly run to Big Moose Station. And then the railway line from Big Moose to Saranac Lake is passable but not presently in use. So that's this line here. And notice how remote it is. Beaver River actually has very little in the way of road access. You generally go there by boat. Some of the local people have also used the railway line using high rail trucks. Although since the Adirondack Scenic Railroad started, they've had to get authorization from the dispatcher. I've been to Beaver River once. It was quite an experience, actually. You can see there's some very basic road access here, but notice that's over a lake. Actually, this isn't a lake, actually. If we move back, this is actually Stillwater Reservoir, which is also an interesting place to visit, if you can access it. Generally, the way to do it, if I can find it here. Yeah, here we go. This little village of Stillwater here is where you can get a ferry to Beaver River. And what's not marked well at all is this dirt road, which turns off of Big Moose Road. Stillwater Road, very short, but if you take Big Moose up past Big Moose and you turn right at this T in the road, you get to go to Stillwater. But the railway line is quite remote. A lot of these hamlets are not well marked on the map, but there are many little hamlets along the way that used to be stations when the line was properly in service. Horseshoe, for example. And anyway, one of these is also Nahasset, too. Sabattis. They don't have them well marked here at all. But if you... There's Piercefield. And you see it starts to swing a bit to the east here. I'm getting annoyed that this is so poorly marked. Tupper Lake. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Tupper Lake actually was also the terminus for the New York and Ottawa Railroad, which no longer exists. There's actually a railway line that goes into the center of town here that's not marked, but you can kind of see the outline of it. It's very hard to see. Used to go to the Ovalwood Dish Company, but it was also the line coming in from Ottawa, because there was a railway line called the New York and Ottawa that you can read about in Mike Kudish's book that went up this way, roughly. At least one of the stations is on display in the Adirondack Museum. But if you continue up the line, or rather down the line, technically, on the Mohawk and Malone, you have Rollins Pond and Floodwood. Flood was actually a station back in the old days. There's Saranac Inn. Rainbow, that was another station. Lake Clear, there we go. See, the original line is this way. Here's Lake Clear Junction and the station. And the Saranac Lake branch goes off this way, and nowadays, the Saranac Lake branch is the only way to go. So you take that down to Saranac Lake. And like I said, in the late 90s, early 2000s, they ran excursion trains from Saranac Lake to Lake Placid on the old Chateauguay Railway, which, of course, came into Saranac Lake here. The grade is not easily visible. I would assume it's somewhere roughly in here, maybe following this road here. That isn't entirely clear. Again, use Michael Kudish's book, I would say. But if you go down this way, south this way, takes you through Raybrook, and eventually you end up in Lake Placid. And there it is. I'll continue this in the next video.